Hey, this is Jon Leon Guerrero. Our guest today is a bad man from a show business family. His name is Frank Stallone. He's been making music for decades. He's been nominated for a Grammy and a Golden Globe, and his name was a recurring punchline for Norm Macdonald on Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update. That's a pretty deep reference, so if you're with us on that one, right on. Frank's got a hardscrabble exterior. He also grew up boxing in Philadelphia, but he's got the soul of a Philly crooner and the heart of a songwriter. You can see him once again in and around Los Angeles. He's playing the intimate jazz clubs from Hollywood to Orange County, places like Bar Fedora downtown, Mozambique and Laguna Beach, and the Hallowed Baked Potato. He's a great mix of man's man and ladies' man. He's a good friend of our frequent co-host Pete Koch, and Pete sat down with him to talk about the new documentary about his life called Stallone, Frank That Is. And he's our guest today. You're going to love him. Frank Stallone.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is Jon Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hi, this is Frank Stallone, and I'm ready for the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with Jon Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Yeah, this is awesome. Pete sitting here again at Q's. Thank you very much to those guys, Q's on Wilshire. This is fantastic, man. I have really appreciated what you've done in your life and all of the fascinating stories that you must have. So this is it's fantastic for me, man. I'm excited about it. And thank you, Pete, for setting this up.
You hang around long enough, something sticks to the wall, you know.
Yeah, I want to talk to your movie, but I want to give Pete a chance to open up because he said he did all the hard work of setting everything up.
Yeah.
Well, Frank has been a friend of mine, and we met under the healthiest of conditions, right, in a gym, getting our physical fitness on, which is important to both of us. But one thing about Frank and getting to know him, and I think it's a fascinating part of his career. And it's really a music career of great renown. You've sold so many records, written so many hit songs, and if you could, I know a little bit more, but I'd rather kind of throw it over to you. But that path, that struggle that you took from you were just a young guy growing up back east and had a vision to be a rock star, right?
Yeah. Well, I turned professional at 15. That's the first time I got paid. That was 1965. It was actually a backyard gig, and I think they gave the whole band like $5. We're 15, so $1.50 was a trio each. We'll take it, you know. You could buy a lot back then. And then from there, it was just my quest. You know, some people have a quest with athletics. Some people have a quest in music or theater. So mine was music, and I was determined that's what I wanted to be. That's it. I didn't want to be a fireman. I didn't want to be a cop. I wanted to be a rock and roll guy or a musician, anything. I liked folk. I like all kinds of music. And just one thing led to another. You know, we did the Battle of the Bands when I was like 16 in Philadelphia. We did the little more. Only TV shows we could get on were like the Farm Reports, which are like 4:30 in the morning, you know. And we'd be there with the band. We'd play our stuff. And it was all fun. I mean, it wasn't really... Well, I can't say struggle. You're still living at home. You can't even drive to the gigs. Your parents have to drive, you know, which was kind of embarrassing because we thought we were like the junior Beatles, you know, really cool. Oh, my mom, you know, like no one likes their mom to drive them to school or anything like that. So that's what I did, and just one thing led to another, and all of a sudden the years start going by. I go, whoa, now it's 10 years.
So let's pause it right there. A couple things during the prep that I saw was, I got a sense that when you made you owned a guitar and then you started playing it, but you said almost sounded like a download from God, like you have music.
Yes.
Go. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was a gift from God because I never had to take voice lessons. It just was there, and it was easy for me. It's like some people, like, you know, Pete and I have talked about, like football and athletics. Usually guys at his level, they could play basketball, they played baseball, they played football, and they were good at all of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like a thing. It's like where we're struggling, it's easier for them. Yeah. Even though you still learn as you go along, it's easier. So that was my thing. It was just that I learned. I mean, and obviously thank God for the Beatles, because that English invasion really kicked it off. Because you know, when Elvis went into the military, then we had Kennedy assassinated in '63, which I was in military school at that time. So the country was really in the doldrums. So the Beatles, that whole English-British invasion. Remember, there was like hundreds of groups coming in. It was really a great springboard for anyone, because now it was like, oh, we can all do this. But when I was in high school, maybe 5, 6 guys in the whole high school were like in a band. It's not like it is now. There were little mom and pop music stores with maybe 7 guitars, a drum set. There was no guitar center. So it was we were considered quite eccentric,
So when you said you guys went out and won a show and everything, Daryl Hall, obviously same kind of upbringing. Also him and John, who was in your band.
Yes, he was.
Those guys also won a talent show, and that was kind of one of the ways you could make it back then.
That's right. And Daryl came down to our basement where we rehearsed in downtown Philadelphia, because people said, yeah, he's a really good singer, man. He plays keyboards. They go, oh, great. We're looking for that, right? And he came down. He was still in Temple University, handsome, clean-cut guy. And he liked the band, but he goes, I'm getting married, so, he made money. We didn't make money. He was in these groups that made money. We didn't make any money. So, but that's 1968. And then 1970, I reinvented my group again. And then John Oates was the lead guitar player and singer. He was just a wonderful guy. And he, too, was in Temple. But he and Daryl were friends anyway. And I remember, after our group broke up, because John said, after college, I'm going to hitchhike around Europe. I mean, we really didn't make any money. Yeah. You have to understand, we'd open for 10 years after, but we didn't make any money. I mean, it's just if we made $100 for the whole band, we were stretching it.
Yeah.
But it's the love of the game, isn't it? You have to love what you do.
Being in that Philadelphia, was that fortuitous? Was that area, was that cultivating a music scene?
Well, yeah, more Philadelphia was more. I mean, if you're going to go to music, it would be more before Frankie Avalon, Fabian, Chubby, and Bobby Rydell. Then after that, it became more soul, Gamble and Huff, Delphonics, Stylistics, Billy Paul. Right. And that wasn't really our thing. That was more that urban black thing downtown. But that being said, there were a lot of bands there. There were a lot of good bands. Not many bands made it, but when I was coming up, there were a lot of rock bands. It was a really nice experience.
When someone's booking your band, though, they also have these other options. Was it really regional, or because you guys have to bleed across genre quite a bit anyhow?
Yeah, well, that's why I think my show is eclectic, because when you played bars, we played everything.
Right.
So but I wasn't into the Four Seasons. I wasn't into that stuff. We would do the Doors, the Buffalo Springfield, the Youngbloods, the Lovin' Spoonful. So we didn't really do we did a few Temptation songs like My Girl and stuff, but you really had to be pliable. And so that's why my love of music, it worked for me, because I had to be able to sing everything, to play like in a bar, you had to could sit there and play all your own songs that no one knows.
Every artist sort of realizes that he's going to start out with cover tunes, and you're animated and inspired by.
As the Beatles and Stones did all cover tunes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, sure. If you listen to early Stones records, they're all like Chuck Berry and stuff like that.
But then you've got to find your own voice, your own way. So how does that work? What's the writing process for you? How does that go?
Well, I think for me, I started one song. I think I was 15 with my group. Of course, it was dreadful. I mean, you look at the song, I look at some of these old songs, I thought they were very poignant, but that's also an 18, 17-year-old brain. There's very few Paul Simons at 22 years old that are writing that, but that's just part of the process. But at least I was writing something, and, and people think because you're 16, 17, you don't know what you're talking about, but your emotions and hormones are going wild from 16 to 19 years old, because everything is a discovery. So, and Jimmy Webb said that to me. He says, remember I was young when I wrote MacArthur's Park and all those songs, Wichita Lineman, by the time I get to Phoenix, I was 19 years old. But he said, I was just an exposed nerve ending. So, but he's one of the great American songwriters, as George Gershwin wrote Rhapsody in Blue when he was 23 years old.
Yeah.
He was dead at 37, so Porgy and Bess, right. All these things he wrote would take some people 4 lifetimes to write. So so for me, it was just a gradual process, and I loved having a band. I loved being in a band. I was always the lead singer in the band, but I loved being in a band. I didn't run my drummer, and he's in my documentary, which I'll talk about. from 1965. He was the drummer, but he drove. And he handled all the money because he was the smart one. We were idiots.
Yeah.
I was like 15. He was like 17.
The old guy.
Marco. So he would collect the money, because he worked in the deli, had a real job. We didn't have any job.
You know how to make change.
We didn't know how to make change. We didn't know how to do anything. But it was, you know what? It could have gone other ways. I didn't get into the drug scene. I mean, like anyone else, in those days. Like any of those days, listen, people... I mean, I remember a friend of mine got busted for a nickel bag of marijuana. Front page news, he went to jail. He ended up being my bass player later on. But it was almost, he was treated like he was like, a drug lord. It was like a nickel bag of probably seeds in those days. But that was jail time. Not like, and we were talking today about CBD and these marijuana places around here. They'd send you to prison. For if you had an ounce, you're in, man. You're going away.
Yeah.
So I was petrified of that. I never got into the drug scene per se, and I didn't even drink, back then. We smoked cigarettes a little bit, but I quit when I was 18, But I'm part of that generation. I'm a war baby. Everyone smoked. You go in the supermarket, women be smoking. Now it's really weird when you see a talk show, Johnny Carson in the old days. If you didn't smoke, they would thought something wrong with you. Look at the Beatles, always had a cigarette in their hand. That was part of the culture.
But listen, you kept your head down and you kept moving forward. And so, what's the first goal as a young musician? Is it a record deal?
Record deal. That's the goal. The goal is to have a band. And at that point, so now I'm in my early 20s. Now we're writing serious songs. Now I have a band, and we want to get a record deal, and that's the most important thing.
What's the name of that band?
Oh, well, that group was called Valentine. So it was about getting a record deal, and in those, it's really funny. Nowadays, there's no record business. In those days, even before Valentine, I would live in New York City with my brother, and I was playing open mics, hooting, whatever, So you would get a reel-to-reel tape recorder, you play something, and you go up in New York City, you go into these monoliths, these CBS records, RCA records, this and that, and these skyscrapers. Here I'm like a 20-year-old schlepper, right? So I come walking in and I go, can I see the A&R? Can I see A&R people? Can I do that? And they said, okay, hon, next week, Wednesday, 11 o'clock. The secretary, like your mother.
Yeah.
We're kids, not like now.
Yeah. Do you want a cookie?
Yeah, cookie. So I'd walk in with my reel-to-reel.
Wow.
And you go, can I see Steve Love, who's head of A&R? So I'd walk in his office. They had lava lamps. He's old, but trying to be hip, like wearing a Nehru. Hey, man, let me listen to your stuff. So we had leader tape in between the songs I did. So they go, okay, man, that's beautiful, man. So you put it on, listen to the song. Then you go to the next song. Yeah. So 3 songs in 30 seconds, you're done. There's if they didn't hear it right away, it was like, hey, man. And when it was over, when you heard the tape going, when it hit the last thing, it started slapping.
Yeah.
I said, well, I guess this is over. He goes, hey, man, it was beautiful. Anything else, let me know, man.
Oh.
He had a medallion, trying to be an old, your parents' age was trying to be over hip.
Yeah.
Like a Nehru and stuff. So, but that's what it was like. And I saved all these rejection letters from record companies that aren't even around anymore, like Bell Records.
Right.
Yeah, it was a standard printed up already signed. Hey, we appreciate you coming, but, we'll see you around and stuff like that. So that's what we used to do. And then when I had the group Valentine, the third version, without John Oates, and we were recording, man, our drummer had a TAC, which was big. TAC, 2-track.
Right.
So we'd sit there, record, and we had our managers, and so we'd have auditions. We'd go up to New York to Epic Records, and they'd set you up in the studio, you do an audition. They don't do that anymore. So I remember one time Millennium Records was just starting, and that was Jimmy Einer, who produced the Raspberries and Eric Carmen. He was a big producer at the time. They came down. I was living in Titusville, New Jersey, okay, kind of near New Hope.
Okay.
Lambertville. So I remember it was Donnie Einer, Jimmy Einer's brother, and another guy. They ran the record company. Came down by train to Trenton, New Jersey, from New York, and we picked them up in our van, rock band. We had like a Econoline, and drove them to our farmhouse where we rehearsed. And here are guys, heads of record company, sitting on like a creaky couch, like old, like a hippie commune, and we're playing. And so finally, we got a bite from RCA Records after all this stuff. So we somewhat had to deal with RCA Records, and that's the whole thing when Rocky came out. So it was almost very bad. It was like the collision of my first album with my group and Rocky coming out. Obviously, we got knocked out of the box with that.
Sure.
Because the Rocky thing was just so big, and it was so big. Beatles' new album couldn't have competed with that. So
Valentine gets a record deal at some point. How well did that go for you? What was that experience? How many records?
It didn't sell hardly at all. What happened is my brother, when they were doing Rocky as history, it was a very low budget movie. So the only musicians he knew were me. I mean, okay. So the thing is, other than Bill Conti, who did underscoring, so my brother wanted a scene as he's walking that street with an a cappella group, and I used to sing that stuff. I mean, before I got into the British invasion, guys would stand on the corner and do doo-wop. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They had to sing. So you had to be able to sing. So Sly goes, yeah, do something like like you used to do. So I go, all right. So the whole thing, I tell the story. And I forgot about it. He goes, yeah, write something. I just kind of forgot about it. The next phone call I get, he's in town from California. They're filming Rocky. Hey, you got that song? I go, oh, Christ, I forgot. So, of course, I put it together real quick.
What's real quick?
Like 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
I put the song. Yeah, it was like a scream.
Take You Back?
Take You Back. Okay. So what happened was, we were going to play this bar that had all the hot chicks called White Horse Bowling Academy. That's the kind of place that we played. They had like a stage.
Yeah.
So you're playing in between strikes and spares. And we were getting $140 a night. Wow. So that's 5 guys in the band, including our manager who got 20%. So he took 20% off the top of 140. So that's $28.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're at like $122 or something with 5 guys.
Yeah.
So basically, we're playing 168 minutes of music for like $19 or something like that. So I said, Sly, man, I said, I don't know if the guys really want to play. I don't know if they want to do the movie. He goes, no, you got to help me. So he goes, we'll give you 140. I said, but we're making 140. He goes, each. I go, what? That's like a month. That's a month's worth. So we said, okay. So we went downtown. And we stood on that street corner and sung "Take You Back."
Oh, so all the guys around the can with the flame.
That's my group.
That's
Valentine.
I thought there was just a bunch of
Valentine.
jokers and you.
No, it's my band.
Oh. Didn't realize
So they
that.
were down for that. So we go down there, and we're singing. It's cold out. It's a really bad neighborhood. We're just singing there around the trash can. And this is all my brother's vision, the trash can, the whole thing like this. And I was like the bum from the dark. It's the neighborhood jukebox, stuff like that. So that's all his stuff. And forgot about it. And then, I remember I came out, I'd never been to California when he was kind of starting the fight scenes of Rocky. And I remember, he's still unknown, basically, other than a few movies. So, cut to a year later, I'm walking down the street in New York City, and that's when they had, Pete would know, they had newsstands. Big newsstands all on every other corner where they had the Village Voice, the Daily News, magazines. There were newsstands. All of a sudden, I'm walking by, and I look at this, and I go, it's the Village Voice. And in front, there's a picture, like the front page of the Village Voice, of my brother, that famous Rocky pose that goes, in the 50s, we had Brando. 60s, Newman, blah, blah, blah. Stallone, is he... I'm there, whoa, wait a second. I had to buy that. I said, you crazy? I said, so all of a sudden, the Rocky phenom started. Remember, it never got a bad review except one reviewer. I wish I could think of his name, but he was at the New York Times.
Uh-huh.
And he gave it like a bad review. They made him do a retraction. The paper said, wait, you're the only one in the country that's given this movie a bad review.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to turn that shit around. Okay, so... And the next thing we know, movie's nominated for 10 Academy Awards. So, from obscurity, my album came out a little after that, out of obscurity. Now, were asked to do the Diner Show, Jim Neighbors Show, Midnight Special, ba-bum-ba-bing, ba-bum. Okay. Now, you understand, we're green. I mean, we're local, like, cool, but we're nationally not cool. Okay.
Right.
So now we're doing, like, Mike Douglas and all these shows like this. And we play, and they go, wow, Bob Hope was on the show. We're like, oh, man. So... And then it starts. And I wasn't aware of it because I'm naive. I had always been known as Frank Stallone musician. I was never known as Rocky's brother.
Right.
He was known as Frank's brother.
Yeah.
Because he was unknown. He was an out-of-work actor, and we had all the chicks and stuff. So it was, hey, it's Frank's brother, man.
Yeah.
So then it became not Sly's brother, Rocky's brother.
Rocky's brother, yeah.
So from that, all of a sudden we're doing these talk shows, and they were all nice. And then it starts. So what's it like being Rocky's brother? Yeah, man. So, like, did you have bunk beds? So in other words, not even talking about me or the music.
Right.
It's like this is an easy entree into getting the dirt on the family.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden I was cool about it because I was very proud of my brother. I was very proud of it. But then after a while I started really getting irritated because then we'd see people come see us live and go, I can see their mouth going, Rocky's brother. And so within the band, remember, we were equal shares in the band. So now we play a place, I pull up, I go, oh, you got to be kidding me. Frank Stallone and Valentine, and then Rocky's brother. I said, no, this is not going to work. So it really kind of separated the band a little bit, and I didn't really want that. I didn't really want that to happen because we're all friends. And slowly but surely, the album died. We didn't get, and after the whole Rocky thing passed, lost our record deal at RCA. I was back playing like the Beef and Ale for like, seriously, $30 a night.
Yeah.
By myself on acoustic.
But Take You Back ended up on the Rocky soundtrack, but it didn't end up on a Valentine record ever,
yes,
did
it was.
Oh.
It was on the Valentine record, but it wasn't a music version where we're playing guitars and stuff. That was the single that we went on those TV shows with the push.
Was it an instrumental?
No, it Take You Back in the movies, just a cappella.
Right.
But we had, he died now. He was a great guy, Charlie Colello. So we did a rock version where we're playing guitar.
Which sounds much different than what we see in the movie that people know.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
So
it didn't catch on.
Didn't catch on. But the thing is, it's like anything, okay.
But the wisdom was to sing it a cappella in a scene that was just a scene that was part of the story, the storytelling genius.
Part of the weaving, yes. But so it's like anything else, and we were not akin to the ins and outs of show business. When the movie had its run, we had our run. That was it. And then my brother's next two movies did not do well at all, which were Fist and Paradise Alley, which I like both of them. So he had to recreate himself. So that happened. The group broke up. I was in New Jersey at that point. I was like, it was a really terrible feeling to be. Now I don't have a group. They've seen me on screen and Rocky and stuff, and now I'm playing seriously like a place like this on the corner, right here, like
local band style, local
not
bar.
even a band, just me by my acoustic, right? I'm there, wow, and I feel like a total asshole. The only thing that was a compensation to some of the local girls bartenders, I was like a big star, so. Little compensation on that end, but I mean, as far as like musical, so I was sitting there and I was getting very depressed. I was on lithium and all kinds of stuff because I was dealing with like anxiety and stuff. Now it was really even worse now because my band actually was my outlet. I
want to jump in because it is unique in that you were first contract. All the time, those things don't work out for bands and they go on to the next. That's totally normal path. You're on your trajectory. And then it's like,
boom.
Yeah, you got and so like when Huey Lewis and the News and those guys, Huey's like, we're on the rocket, enjoy this.
And then we got hit with the Tomahawk missile. And
someone else's rocket grabbed you.
Someone else's rocket. So then I go like this. I said, man. So I was talking to Sly. He goes, why don't you leave that shithole? Come to California. I said, well. So I sold everything. I got my Datsun 240Z. Back then, that was a cool car. But it wasn't new, believe me. Trust me. But so I went with my manager.
Triple carb?
Yeah.
The 3-carb setup? Yeah, nice.
240Z. Went there. My manager sitting next to me. As much stuff as I fit in a 240Z and headed to California. And this is interesting. I know nothing about California. I have no money, nothing. Everything disappeared. So he goes, now I want you to stay at Susan Anton's place because that was his girlfriend. She was staying with him. I said, okay. It was right in Marina Del Rey, right on the water, up the Speedway. Okay, I'm there on Ironsides. I go, wow, this is kind of cool. So I ended up like a guy with 2 cents to my name, living on the beach. Okay, so then they broke up. So I go, I want you to stay at the other house. Now I had no money at all. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. So now I'm living in this house in Bel Air by myself.
Oh, come on.
I swear to God. I didn't know Bel Air was like the richest neighborhood in the world. So girls would see, like, where do you live, dude? I go, I live in Bel Air. And all of a sudden it was like instant aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what was happening. I go, wow, either I'm getting pretty good or I wasn't equating it to the neighborhood and that L.A. is, moves that way. So I lived in the house for a while, and that is where I wrote the songs for Staying Alive, in that front room.
And how did that opportunity, how exactly did that, okay.
I love this story.
I was playing, I was playing local clubs like Tennessee Gin and Cotton Club, Hop Sings, Madam Wong's, all the local places, and I had a good band, So I heard through the grapevine that my brother was directing the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, which sold 52, like 100, like most ridiculous, 56 million records, Saturday Night Fever, which is insane. So I go, my brother's directing this? Okay, good. So I tried to get on the Paramount lot. Of course, they wouldn't let me on. And then I finagled my way in and went into the office, which is as big as this place. So it's like, Pete will know, or anyone in showbiz, usually the pre-production, everyone's running around, everyone has self-importance. Okay, we're going to do this. And this is a big movie, man. You have to understand. So I walk in the office. My brother's only 37, and he's got this thing, and here I am, totally like a busted valise, like no money, no career, fucking disheveled and everything. So I come in the office and I say, hey man, you think there's a chance for me to get some music in the movie? And he goes, absolutely not. I go, okay, I'll buy it. It's the Bee Gees, right?
Yeah.
Who am I? So all of a sudden, so he tried to pacify me. He goes, yeah, just go write some stuff. We'll see what happens. I think it was just to get rid of me, But I took it seriously, and there was a little studio in Silver Lake. I think it was $22 an hour.
Wow.
And I had my band, and I started writing stuff, and we started recording up in this studio. And every three weeks, I would come back to Paramount with a cassette with the stuff we recorded. And I played for my brother, I'd animate, So after a while, this came on. And then when I would come into the office, all the people that were there were like, oh God, here he is, like rolling their eyes, like whatever, I said, okay. But I had to make this happen.
Yeah.
So what happened is, make a long story short, the Bee Gees quit the movie because for some reason, John didn't like their new music.
John Travolta.
Yeah, John Travolta didn't like the music, and they were a little insulted. Now, and the Bee Gees said, well, we don't really need this. I mean, they're like cajillionaires anyway. They didn't want to do it anyway. But their manager, Bob Stigwood's their manager and the producer of the movie. So now there's a crisis. You got the largest musical movie in history without the Bee Gees. So there's major discord. John's freaking out, and right next to us, the next stage was Flashdance, and they were having worse problems than we were.
Jesus.
So Sly called Billy Joel, not him, but would you like to do soundtrack Saturday Night Fever? He goes, not really. I go, okay. Hall & Oates. They go, not really. And this is the second time because Hall & Oates were supposed to be in Rocky. They wanted to do the music. They turned it down.
Wow.
Then they turned Staying Alive down. And when I did live from Daryl's house, when I did his show, we talked about that. He goes, I've turned down both things. So I go, okay, well, good for me. So what happened? And then I get a call from my brother. And usually if I get a call for him, it's never like a social call, something. No, it's either like he's mad about something or he needs something like that. Hey, brother. I said, yeah, what's going on? He goes, yeah, remember those songs you wrote? I go, of course I remember them. You rejected every one of them. No, I forgot all this. I forgot the 12 songs I submitted.
All the heartache.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking like it just changed my life. No, I forgot, right? He goes, yeah, we got a problem, with, John. I said, John's upset? John owns a jet. He's in a mansion. He's upset. I'm in an $80 a month apartment.
Right.
No, I'm upset. Why should he be upset? If the movie doesn't happen, he's still rich, right? So he goes, well, anyway, so get a cassette.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business, or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
Reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner,
or at JohnLG69.
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
Why should he be upset? If the movie doesn't happen, he's still rich, right? So he goes, well, anyway, so get a cassette, and let's go. We're going to have lunch with John over in the house he's staying at in Bel Air.
Right.
Okay. At this point, I was not living in Bel Air. I was living in
Not for $80 a
I was
month,
living in
you weren't.
Oakwood. So Oakwood apartment. So I go over there, and so I goes, whatever you do, don't tell him it's you. And this is my brother, Tip. I love him to death, but this is him. He goes, hey, John, I found this music. I'm like, okay. So I just didn't say anything. We were having lunch, and John's there talking. Yeah, you know, like Barbarino.
Yeah.
And my brother's talking, and I'm kind of surreal. It's like Rocky and Barbarino talk, and they're like, "Oh, like, yeah, we're gonna do something with this movie." Yeah, so this is back and forth with these two guys. So then he starts playing my cassette, and then I start seeing John going, like bopping and played like 5 songs, going, "Wow, yeah, great." And I'm like kind of freaking out because I'm at the end of my road. I'm 32 years old at this point. Nothing. So I've dedicated since I'm 15. All of a sudden, he goes, man, I love this. I go, I almost had a stroke. You know, so he goes, who is that? He goes, it's Frankie. So John looks at me like everyone does with this incredulous look. You mean Frank? I said, like I'm Fredo or something.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah.
So, and that next Monday, they start dropping my songs in the movie, and I ended up with 9 songs in the movie. And I, from obscurity, got Grammy nomination, Golden Globe nomination, got totally screwed out of my Oscar nomination by a song that never charted. Mine was number 1, never charted. So that's how politics work. The same 5 songs for the Golden Globes, same 5 songs for the Grammys. What a Feeling, Flashdance, Maniac, my song. These are all number 1 songs.
Yeah, all number 1.
And 2 songs, Tender Mercies. I don't even know there was a song. And 1 from Yentl. 2 songs that bubbled under at 95, right? So when the Oscars come out, I'm doing my first album cover shoot, and they go, hey, you got a call from your brother. I go, oh, fuck, someone died. There was no way I couldn't believe I wouldn't get nominated for Academy Award. There's only 5 songs. They took my song out, which is number 1, and replaced it with another song from Yentl that was even more obscure than the one before. I go, are you kidding me? So, not that I will have won the Oscar, but it would have been nice to have been nominated. So, 2 brothers have both been Oscar nominees. So that was kind of a drag. And then, I did my solo album, and it was a great record, and they had a lot of hope for it. Went to the toilet. But that's part of the business.
But the soundtrack for Staying Alive, How many songs are you responsible for on that
9.
sound? 9 songs on the soundtrack.
Well, I'm very proud of that. Was a really great time because that was 18 years of being in the trenches, and all of a sudden, finally, not having to carry my own equipment, finally going tours, finally people treating you with respect, going overseas, France and everything first class. And then, you don't think it's going to end, and then all of a sudden it ends.
9 songs is so remarkable. I mean, what did you write any songs that didn't make the cut? I mean, was that?
Yeah, there were a few songs that didn't. Yeah, I mean, because then they started thinking it was ridiculous. I said, well, if the songs work, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I mean, 9 is such an astounding number. So the film itself was very successful.
Very successful, but they screwed us because in those days they would take all your publishing, and that's your money.
Yeah.
So they take 100%. I find that weird that anyone would take 100% of anything, but that's what they did in those days. So a lot of guys went to Ivy League schools on my publishing, a lot of these guys. So I kept my writers, but if we would have kept even half the publishing, that would have been pretty good.
Yeah, number 1 is massive. I mean,
yeah. So, but the thing is, most guys, mean, I've got, how come you didn't quit? I said, well, quit to what?
Yeah.
That's all you know how to do. I mean, you have to fight. You have to sit there and fight.
Well, at that point, do you start to think about, based on the success of that film, do you think about, you weren't part of a band. That was Frank Stallone on his own.
Yeah,
right?
I did have a band. I did have the band that I recorded with was kind of my band at that point, which we went out on the road with. Because I was playing.
Was Frank Stallone and his band. But it's Frank Stallone. Okay.
Yeah. And that was quite good. Then we did my solo album, which didn't do well, but they had a lot of hope in that record. In other words, it was the 45. On the flip side were 5 songs that were spliced together as a medley because they thought there were going to be so many hits. I mean, I had that big billboard on Tower Records of the album cover and all that stuff like that. So I was thinking that was going to be, I thought that was going to be really awesome. But
how about this other career? How about the thought? But how about the notion of focusing on writing soundtracks for films?
Well, okay, that was the thing. That didn't materialize. All of a sudden, everything fell apart. My manager ended up working for a big company, Disney, and I was just floundering on my own. I had my manager for 13 years, and just all of a sudden, everything. So I'd say, hey, why don't you try some soundtracks and stuff like that? And I just didn't have any point people to do anything, so that kind of went by the wayside. But during that time, I started getting some movie work. I went to acting classes out here, so I started getting some movie work, even though I could act a little bit because I was always a ham, but I kind of learned on the job. I'm sure you learned on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't go to Juilliard. We just kind of, you have a certain look, and then you just, if you put 2 and 2 together, something happens, right?
Yeah, I know learning on the job was important to me. It's not necessarily the best way to do it, but there's a whole lot of ways to wedge yourself.
Can't turn it down.
Right. And there's a lot of different ways to position yourself to get in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And if somebody says, hey, we need you on the set tomorrow for this role, you just go and figure it out. And
did you find a lot of the discipline you had in football kind of carried over into film? Like, I'm never late. I hate to be late.
Right.
Did you find, like, here are your lines, Pete. Like, here's your playbook. Learn it.
Well, I think that's a big part of it. Be prepared. Be in a position so that you can be successful. And I learned that as an athlete, and it astounded me when I got into this acting business when I learned that how many people were not very responsible.
They don't know their lines.
Right.
And then the other part. But once you've arrived and it's hit your mark, and your hair, makeup, you got it. You just got to deliver the best that you can. And that's an ongoing process. And as you know, I've had the fortune to know Benicio del Toro for a long, long time, and he always credits the fact that he was very fortunate to get he auditioned and got a scholarship to study with Stella Adler.
Oh yeah, sure.
She was at the very end of her life.
Yes, she was.
And
she was great because she hated women and loved handsome young guys. So that was good for him.
Yep.
Like this girl would deliver a line in class, and she'd go, "Okay, just don't stand there and be blonde, act." But so a good-looking guy couldn't act at all. She goes, "That was wonderful." She was just great, but she was great. Broadway, Stella Adler, Luther Adler, Stella Adler.
Yeah.
But he had the goods.
He had the goods, and he was fortunate he jumped straight when he jumped in front of that camera. He had a great deal of preparation and knowledge about how to go about that. And I'll tell you one thing that he brought that is confidence. I said, why were you so confident so early on? Because he goes, I was instilled that if I were to listen to Stella's methods and believe it and buy into it, there was a confidence attached to that.
And that's really important. I mean, it's amazing when I'm out here, kids that went to Harvard cost their parents $300,000, and they go, yeah, I think I want to try acting. I go, why didn't you try that $300,000 ago?
Yeah.
Because the chances are you getting work are like kind of zero. Because there are girls I know waiting tables that graduated Yale School of Drama. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
And I think it's even harder now as it is in music. When I was coming up, you sat, you wrote songs. Now some guy sits that can't play an instrument behind a computer and Pro Tools and writes a hit record doing beats.
Yeah.
They have no music theory at all. Okay.
Yeah.
So we become a bit of a dinosaur.
What was your, I don't know, what was your introduction or break into on the acting side of things?
Other than the little ditzy things I did in Staying Alive, a few lines here and there. My brother, I was like the singing actor. I do a few things. So when Staying Alive came out, all of a sudden now you're a guy 33 years old, half not bad looking, you're okay, and you're a Stallone, and they're figuring this is a town of opportunists. So I said, whatever, because I didn't make much money playing. So I got offered my first starring role in a movie called Pink Chiquitas, which is scary. Okay, it was shot in Canada, paid me a lot of money, had a limo driver, everything, and it was surrounded by the cast of 50 of the best-looking women in Canada. So there was a lot of compensation in that movie. It was a really bad script. I said, I'll live with it, okay? So I'm a star. So I did Pink Chiquitas, kind of a cult, and then from there, these movies came up, and then, but in between, you do a Barfly.
Yeah.
Then you do some really
Great job,
bad
by
ones.
the way.
Thank you. Then you do Hudson Hawk.
Yeah.
A few more bad movies. Then you do Tombstone.
Yeah.
Then you do some bad. But the thing is, I never had really an agent. I never had someone behind me that's 2 steps ahead going, okay, I need, we got some heat on Barfly. Boom.
Yeah.
And there's a funny story about that. After Barfly call, I get a call from this agent. God, I wish I knew the name of the agency. I kind of blanked it out of my mind. So they're courting me, this is great. It was on Friday. Frank, we're so happy to have you with the agency. You did such a great job in Barfly. I think it was Barfly. Barfly or Tombstone, one of those. So I think it was Barfly. So anyway, kind of a big agency, but blowing so much smoke. Coming out of my ears, right? We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And you've heard this too. Anyone. So, this is great. This is a Friday. So Monday, the first thing that comes across the desk is a movie my brother's doing, and there's a part for his brother, as is for my brother's brother, right? So they go, oh, fuck, we got this. So we got this, man. And it wasn't even like a make or break part, but it was a part in the movie, okay?
Yeah.
It was something about a death ship or something like that. So all of a sudden, they call this agent, Mindy Marin, a casting director. I think her name was that. They go, hey, this town, hey, babe, hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, hey, listen, I see this new Sylvester Stallone script called Death Trip or something like whatever, something Death Ship or something. They said, and there's a part in there for his brother, and we just signed Frank Stallone, Sly's brother, and Barfly. Oh yeah. And all of a sudden there's silence on the other ends. So they're going. So, we like to go in for that part, and all of a sudden there's silence, and they're going. And she goes, I don't see it.
Yes, I love it.
I never heard from the agency again. That was it. They figure if we can't deliver Frank as Sly's brother,
yeah,
never and after the champagne, never heard from him again. She said, "You don't see me as his brother. I am his brother."
Yeah,
yeah. So who do you see as his brother? Steve Guttenberg? I don't know.
Yeah. So in a town where you're
I've had so many agents. It's like,
yeah. This is what I want to ask about. It's like in a town where you have to say yes to stuff. Like we had Allie Willis on. She writes songs like crazy.
Oh, Allie's great.
And so they just saddled her up and rode her songwriting butt all the way around. She's like, I hate it, But then she, found peace with what she had to do. But you have to say yes to things. So sometimes when you're like, why did I say yes to this? And as a guy that's hustling, what kind of things came your way where you're like, I'm
trying to make a living. You're trying to, and I tell people, a lot of these people come here as an actresses. I said, you know what? I said, if you don't have a thick skin, you're done.
Yeah.
Because I go into auditions, I do my job. If I win, I win. I don't expect it's an automatic win. And that's if you come in that way and then you do get it, all the better.
Right.
But if you come and you absolutely said, I own this, I'm going to get it, and you don't get it, don't be surprised. Because basically casting agents have in their mind who they want anyway.
Right.
So they're just hanging in the wings, find out that you have a go-ahead and you're done. I auditioned 3 times for Brian De Palma for Untouchables. I came in, I was dressed, had the suit with the two-tone shoes. He goes, you look really good, Frank. Did the role as Frank Nitti. No, it was Al Capone, which I thought I was wrong for. I don't look like Al Capone. So, and they keep bringing me back. And all of a sudden, I didn't hear from anybody anymore. They go, well, they cast De Niro. I said, okay, well.
Oh, jeez.
But that's what happens. If they get who they want, you're done.
The other thing is like if you're sitting in the room and you're going in for, Sly's brother in a movie, there is Steve Guttenberg sitting there and all the other guys that are like you.
Yeah.
And they're waiting to go. And you're right, like the frame of mind, you may not be the right guy to be his brother, even though really you are.
I think I could have pulled it off, though.
Yeah, you might have been able to do it.
I think I might have been able to do it.
But that is how it works, though, right? Like whatever your truth is when you show up, that may not be the truth that they need.
You have to be able to take it on the chin. If you can't, you're not going to make it in this town.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole, and I know, it's not like it's over. You're still in the acting business, but you've had a heck of a day job, and that is Frank Stallone as a standalone singer-songwriter performer, and I've had the great fortune to see you live 3 times. Mm-hmm. And it's a special show, and you sell out every time. It's just a matter of how many shows you want to do, and that's between you and your manager, I suppose. But I
don't have a manager. I have to do it.
But your association with, I think it's fair to say, the Vibrato.
It's been like a home base for us.
With the most beautiful jazz club in Los Angeles.
Gorgeous up
and
there.
We don't really do jazz, but they've been, we just started, before anybody, we started kind of playing a little more pop rock, and it works because I guess, to them, it's asses in the seats. That's what keeps the club alive. And it's a great venue, and Eden Alpert, Herb's daughter, runs it and does a great job. But the new jewel fell here is there's a film coming out on me. It's not really a documentary. It's more of a film, but it's a docu-film. And it's called Stallone, which I named it, in big letters and underneath Frank That Is. So I'm going to see who out there is going to try to steal it and says theirs. I go, really? Yeah, I'm sure you came up with that. Yeah. So you live my life, right? So this thing, everyone is in it. My brother's in it. Arnold's in it. Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses is in it. John Oates is in it. Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi's in it. Danny Aiello's in it. Joe Mantegna's in it. Frankie Avalon's in it. Geraldo Rivera. Just tons of people. So these 2 young Texas filmmakers that did a movie on John Avildsen called King of the Underdogs, a great movie. So they came to me and said, we want to do a movie on you. I go, like, why? You go, because you have a pretty interesting life. In other words, you've done a lot, and people don't know about it. I go, well, what else is new? So we started about 2 years ago, so I figured, well, let me call in every favor I can. And I did. And you know what? They all came through.
Oh, wow.
Everyone came through. And so they said, okay, we're going to do a rough screening. I'm there, oh, boy. So I came with my pad ready to redline everything because, I didn't. And I sat there, and it's not my ego. I was mesmerized by this movie. It's just because it's stories. People. I haven't seen in 50 years.
Yeah.
My first drummer. People like that for 60s and stuff. All these people came out. And it was very emotional, very moving. My brother was incredible in it. And so I took it over to Sly's house, and he didn't like anything. And he actually really liked it.
Wow.
He goes, so now they went back, and he's really a good editor. So he was talking to Derek. He says, you know what? Try this, cut the fat here. And so I saw the other one. It's really great. And we saw it without the music. Now it has the music in it, which is fantastic. So they're done with that, so we're shopping it now. So that should be an interesting thing. I said, everyone's been telling me who they think I am, so now I'm telling you what it is.
Were you able to get a song into your own movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I did. But the thing is, it's funny. Everyone's had me pegged.
Yeah.
Oh, Frank is this. You don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
So now it's like, Pete, like when people come to my show, I had it last night. People go, I didn't really know what you did. I just thought, and then they're kind of, wow, I didn't know you did that. I said, but let me ask you something really. What did you think I did?
Yeah.
Do you think I came on stage in camouflage with a headband? Like, I mean, what do you think I did for? This is what I do for a living.
And your show is very special. I want to talk more about the documentary, but I just want to make one comment on this show is that people should know that you have a band. I've got a small, humble musical background myself. I was the president of my senior high school
Did
band.
you play the clarinet?
I played the trombone.
First chair.
And I played in the...
Hey, you can sit in with us, man, next time.
And I played, and you have an amazing trombone player. And I was in the stage band.
Were you really?
I was, yeah. So I appreciate the horn section that you've got. You have a full, immensely talented band. Yeah,
they're good guys.
And they're
really good.
tight.
They're very tight.
And there's not a false moment
they're really
in
good.
those guys. So you put on a heck of a 2-hour show, and you deliver everything from classic Sinatra stuff to the popular stuff. Of course, you introduce all your own hits.
Well, it's a very eclectic thing, and because I have albums in those genres, and it's just, I hate to say because it sounds like, but there's like something for everybody.
There is, and I have to get this in, like when you sang you covered Joni Mitchell.
Well, that's my second release single.
Mind
Case
blown.
of You. Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
And then that was produced by Harry Nilsson.
And not an easy song.
No, it's not an easy song.
Goodness.
Harry Nilsson's your next door neighbor?
Harry was my next door neighbor, and I'm the only guy he ever produced. We became friends because we were both on RCA Records. So when I moved out here, my brother goes, guess who lives next door? I said, who? He goes, Harry Nilsson. I go, you got to be kidding me. I idolized Harry. I thought he was just magnificent. And so he produced that record. And, of course, he's not with us anymore, and he was a wonderful, wonderful talent. But it's, like Pete says, it's an eclectic show.
Folks, if you get to L.A., go to frankstallone.com. Make sure you get, if it works out at all, I highly recommend you go catch a show.
Yeah, I'm pretty open. I'm like the easiest person to find. People go, well, don't give out too much. I said, my Instagram is Frank.Stallone.
Yeah.
Twitter, @FrankStallone.
Yes.
Website, frankstallone.com. It's like the easiest thing because I can't remember anything. So I just put it, all my license plates are my hit records with the initials and the date. Yeah. So I don't forget anything.
That's hilarious.
Some people have, and the funny thing, like when the internet first came out and I had my email, my brother goes, hey, I can't get that. I said, he goes, how'd you get it? So I got on early, used my name, Stallone. He goes, well, I can't. I said, so now you're mad? I'm a Stallone too. Well, absolutely. But he was like he was all like bummed because I said, well, so what do you get? Like, you just got into computers.
Yeah.
You didn't even know how to use a computer 3 years ago. So now he was like bummed that he didn't get the Stallone name.
A couple of guys that have been on the show are Felton Pilot and James Early. They did some of the music for your brother's Rocky V movie.
Oh, really?
Were you involved in that at all?
No, not at all. No.
They got that gig because they were the ones that put together all of MC Hammer's hit music.
I know they tried to do. Excuse me. They did Take You Back, and they're going, yeah, well, our song. She goes, no, my song.
Yeah.
That you're kind of ripping off.
Right.
And you're going to pay. So
yeah.
Let's get straight. It's not your song. It's my song.
Yeah. And what a great song, by the way. You wrote it in 20 minutes, like you said.
Yeah. But people try to come in like Sting when Tupac did Every Breath You Take. He goes, no. Yeah. No, it's not your song. It's my song. It's like my song you pirated into beats or whatever the hell it is. I don't understand rap music. I mean, people like it. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah. Why? Is it just not? You're so comfortable in so many genres.
Well, it just doesn't. I mean, some of the beats are cool. It just doesn't connect with me. It's just just rhyming and it's just just continuous blah 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 blah. And I don't know what it really means. When I listened to Bridge Over Troubled Waters, my first heard, I go, okay, got it. Joni Mitchell, Blue Album, got it. James Taylor, Sweet, I got certain things. But when I hear it, it just seems like a continuous dangling participle or whatever. Just as it's like conjunctive sentence, whatever it's called. English,
but that explains to folks what they can expect if they see you in concert.
But we do play blues. We play rock. We do whatever. I mean, but it's not a variety show. These are all songs that are on my albums.
Right, yeah. If you go to Spotify and listen to your list, everything's in there.
Yeah, it's everything in there.
Yeah.
So when they go, oh, you capitalize, I said, dude, I got albums. I said, I have quotes by Frank Sinatra and Tony Bennett and Sammy Kahn.
Yeah.
Do you? Well,
Right.
of course, it's too late. Frank's dead. But I got home and the getting was good, And so I was fortunate enough to capture the tail end of these great arrangers, Sammy Nestigo, Billy May, and stuff like that. So, but I always liked it. I mean, I love Mario Alonso. I like everything. But reggae and hip-hop just never hit me. And I'm not against it. I mean, when I was listening to Beatles, my parents said, it's commie music, whatever,
Damn hippies.
Yeah, damn hippies.
When you are communicating
Hey,
with
you need a drum with that combo? I said, well, yeah, it would help. If they go like this, goddamn combo. It's not a combo. It's 5 pieces. Combo is 3 pieces. He goes, all right, it sounds good. Do you need them drums? Them drums. I go, well, it would help to keep a beat. This is like when I do Italian festivals, it's like you almost really want to recheck if you are Italian because they're impossible to deal with. And yeah, it sounds pretty good. And they're always trying to like chisel you down.
Yeah.
They go like this. All right, so I like to come out and play. So I said, well, my band, I got 5 pieces. I bring, he goes, yeah, but do you need the drums? I go, of course I need the drums. You heard the album. You love the album. What am I going to do without drums?
Yeah.
So I'm doing it with that to go, yeah, it's going to cost something. I said, considering what you're paying, because I know what's happening. They're juicing it themselves because they have all the concessions for all the stuff. So the Italian guys are taking all the skim and they don't want to pay the band. So the Italian festivals, everyone I've had, I said, listen, get me to Italian festivals. Seriously, in a week they quit.
Yeah.
They go, I can't deal with these people. Because they're not professional bookers. The guy that owns does construction like Joey Bombazz or another guy that has a pizza parlor. He's the head of the Italian Sons of Italy. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So what is that there? It's a trombone. So what's that thing there? What's this? Guitar. They don't know what you're doing. I said, this is what it costs.
This is what it costs.
And it's like, man. I said, you know what? They nickel and dime you to death. And I said, hey, I said, oh, because I'm Italian, you want to screw me. Yeah. That's the good one. Hey, listen, we're both Italian, right? I said, yeah, that's the main problem. Because I know what you're going to try to do under the flag of, Italy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're good people. But those festivals are a nightmare, man.
Yeah, I love
a few good ones.
The charity is talking about, like, we want you to come in, Frank, and play. Oh, man, we get so many big donors. They bring in so much money. By the way, you're going to comp this, right? And you're like, no,
absolutely not.
I'm not going to comp this. My band's flying in. We're going to
a French person go, we're doing a documentary on rock. I said, yeah. So we loved it. I said, I don't work for free.
Yeah.
Why should I give you pertinent information that you can't get from anywhere else for your stupid documentary in France? There's one in Japan. I said, it'll cost you some Jack. I said, I don't do that stuff for free. Why should I give you information no one could give you for nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's for the film, it's super. I said, I don't give a shit if it's super or not.
Yeah.
Super is like sending over those francs. But this is what happens. Everyone wants something for nothing. I said, I said, let me ask you, do you work for free? They go, well. I said, well, hello. Oh, this is another great one. People don't know this one. So I just got offered a movie, and the money's really bad. I said, this is my quote. They go, yeah, but, we don't have it, man. We're putting it all on the screen. I said, really? Well, how about putting some in my bank account? You can also put it on the screen. That's the thing, because the producers walk away with the money.
Yeah.
But they're putting it on the screen, but they want to pay the actors like really bad money. So I just morally can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
But Frank, this for me, this highlights how successful you've been, and you're just putting it out there. How challenging.
Oh,
the two businesses in the whole world that you picked, music and acting. You couldn't
Two worst things you could go into.
Yeah, but in spite of all,
maybe if I came out now, it would have been a different time, Peter. I mean, I guess I came out at a time when it was a little more humanistic. Huh. We would go on tour to the radio stations with the boss jocks, and we'd sit there, have drinks and stuff. It was all business. You know what I mean? And so now it's very antiseptic. I mean, when you see Paul McCartney's music at Starbucks, it's scary. I mean, when they used to have these huge music outlets, And you say, well, how good's this group doing? They're at Starbucks or at Costco.
Yeah.
But I remember we grew up with mega record stores, like Strawberries, all those big record out. That's gone.
Yeah, it's hard to be counterculture when you are in the culture. Like when you are at Starbucks, when you are at the Ralph's.
I know.
It's hard to be like, I'm edgy.
I mean, I don't know, with all these shows like America's Got Talent, American Idol, I guarantee you right now, Joni Mitchell or Bob Dylan would never made it on American Idol. Never. They're too hip. Yeah. And that's the problem. We were talking about American Idol. I said, why do these groups, when they win, nothing happens? I said, I'll tell you why. They have no show. They're singing one song a week. They have a hairdresser. They have a voice coach. They got a choreographer. They're not professional musicians.
Right.
That's why Daughtry did okay, because he has a band. He was a working band.
Right.
He's very good. But you just can't come on and sing one song a week and all of a sudden you're going to go on tour. And, a guy was on the show. He goes, Frank, how do you do it? I said, I've been doing it 54 years, man.
Right.
It's all learning from mistakes. You're talking about playing 5 nights a week under terrible conditions with nothing. Like last night. Okay, here's a perfect example. Last night, I'm playing, then I pick up my acoustic guitar to play. It starts making all this noise like it's ready to blow up. And I'm there, oh, shit. And I need the acoustic guitar. So I put it down, so now I'm playing it on my electric guitar. The battery went out on the acoustic guitar. So Masaki, the sound guy, grabbed it. A few minutes later, they came back with it. But most people would just been in a panic, would have melted down. I said, well, this is the first time I ever did Gordon Lightfoot on a Stratocaster. So here we go. But we did it.
I totally get that. I mean, as a combat guy, like someone will say, how you doing? And I'm like, you have to understand, no one's shooting at me or thinking, am I going to blow this guy up today? It's all a win for me.
Good.
My
friend are A-10 pilots. I go, what's it like? He goes, when we're shooting, the plane's moving.
Yeah.
There's so much ordnance. It's, and I have vertigo. So I was at Vance Air Force Base. I was at a celebrity quail hunt in Enid, Oklahoma. So a few of the guys that, lieutenant colonels, Air Force guys, fighter pilots, stuff. So, come on, Frank, we'll take you to flight simulator. I'm there, okay. I went in, and it's like a T6, and it looks like a regular room. I said, piece of cake. And also when the lights go out, and I was having a nervous breakdown because it's real. And you're working this, okay, and I'm a little right brain, left brain challenge. So working rudders, the throttle, and the stick.
Yeah.
I said, I'm talking about this. I'm augering, baby. So I went right into the mountain. They go, okay, great pilot, Frank. So, and then I realized, and then they put me in like a new jet. I mean, it's so real. Have you ever been in a flight simulator?
I've been in the Humvee simulator, which is very similar. It's very real.
You think you're there.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, now one thing I know, I'm not a pilot ever. Vertigo, I'm like I'm getting nauseous. So when you think about these fighter pilots, that are in these jets, he goes, Frank, you think it's comfortable? It's this wide. You're sitting straight up like this for 11 hours. Fighter pilots. He goes, it's not like in the movie where a guy opens his canopy and has a cigarette. Sure, baby, sure, I'm coming down. See? No, it's not like, Clark Gable and Run Deep with a camel hanging out of your mouth. It's very technical. So my hat goes off those guys. And he goes, and Frank, you're in a simulator. We're out there, people shooting at us. It's a whole different ball game when you have guys that are good as you or better coming at you at all places. So that A-10, which people out there, the Warthog, shoots those 30 millimeter shells. It's just like 1,000 shells in like 3 seconds, like brrr.
Yeah.
And so he shows me a picture. He goes, "Watch this." So all the Americans are pinned down, and you see these two mountains. And between the mountain comes this Warthog. And he goes, the people on the ground now, the enemy are freaking out because they know it's over. It's messed. There's nothing left. So those guys have a lot of guts. I'm not cut out for it. I'm cut out for certain things. That's not one of them. No, a flying ace would not be for me.
Frank, you are a patriot, and we know that and appreciate that about you.
I love this country and everything. Whether good or bad, that's afforded me the chance to win or fail. Yeah. Which is okay with me. And Arnold always says, man, if you cannot take failure, you can never win. If you're afraid of failure, he said you can't win because you'll never take the shot. And on that note, I'll show you why this is showbiz. Pete has to go for an audition.
Yes.
That's how it goes. And that's what runs the clock in this town.
That's right.
And speaking of clock, we appreciate you putting yourself on the clock
you're
with
a
us
friend
today.
of mine, and you know, whatever little words or gems of wisdom I can put out there would be stay in school.
Well,
no.
How do people find you and stay in touch with you or reach out to you?
My Instagram is Frank.Stallone. That's with 2 L's. And my Twitter, which I don't use anymore because, you know, I got in a little trouble with that. So that's at Frank Stallone, which means nothing. I'm not going to use that. And my email, my website is frank.stallone.
And people can find updates on your concert, your appearances there.
Yes, everything is out there.
Beautiful.
And would you blog a little bit more? 'Cause I find what you write fascinating.
I think I will.